Hi, Isabel. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine, fine, fine. And you see, just like I mentioned earlier before we came in, thank you for your understanding and thank you for, trying to make this meeting work out. Thank you so very much. I truly appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
You see, before we get started, I also want to thank you for two things. All right. Firstly, I want to thank you for investing in yourself. The fact that you dedicated your time, your energy, your resources to improving yourself. Now, the result of what you did attracted me. And now I am attracted to the good works and your result. And here you are on the show to bless us and we want to learn from you. So thank you for investing in yourself. Thank you so very much. And the second one, thank you for, being here. We had a lot of issues and you still ensured that it all worked out. Thank you so very much for that too. Isabel, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
My
okay.
pleasure.
Yeah, beautiful. So, I am quite excited to have Isabel on the show for some reasons. All right. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking, because I believe in order to transition from a chaotic situation to that of a beautiful one, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, Isabel, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very, very important to me and even to the listeners. Now, the second reason why I'm excited to have Isabel on the show is for the sake of the listeners. You know, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there, so the listeners trust me for quality information. And that's why when I was reading through your profile, I was excited because I believe our conversation is going to be insightful. So for that reason, Isabel, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We're just so curious. We want to know how you got here. Then afterwards, I've got some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Isabel, over to you.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm Isabel, and my family is actually from Bolivia in South America. And we were very political down there, and we made a lot of changes. We ruffled some feathers. We had some family splits happening between socialism and free markets. And at one point, we had to leave Bolivia and came to the United States. And I'm the first generation born in the United States. And now we're seeing some of these same problems that were happening in Bolivia happening in the United States. And it actually even appears that it could be worse for the United States than what it was in Bolivia, mostly because the United States has been very successful at making people be isolated. So the loneliness epidemic that's happening in the US is now affecting people so badly that it's like they feel like they can't fight back, and they don't have tribes, they don't have villages, they don't have friends, and they're all very lonely. And I felt that my Bolivian background is includes everyone, and we party all the time and we have fun together and we spend a lot of time together before we call each other friends. And I felt that it might help some of what's going on in the United States, and then we can actually begin to work together again like we used to.
Beautiful. I love that. And what you said is really important, that loneliness and all. And I think you're right, all right? Because I believe the solution to all of that issue and all is to educate the families. And that's why I'm excited to have you on the show because we're going to be talking about some very important stuff as to families and all. Many families are not in some families are not in good terms, issues
Yes.
within and troubles within and all of these issues and these issues. So we're going to be talking about some of those things today. And I will begin first with your family. All right. So I'm going to ask, yeah. So can you talk to us about That's going to be the first question. Can you talk to us about your family? Is your family happy? And do you all work together? Like, do you work well together?
Yeah, so my family we do a lot of different things to work well together. We use more of the Hispanic type parenting, but the Hispanic parenting has a lot in common with also Inuit parenting that you see out of Canada, and even has a lot of similarities with French parenting that, a pretty famous book came out about it. Even has a ton of things in common with how people in Africa who live in tribes and villages still, who have rejected living in cities, even with how they parent. So we're raising these children that from a very young age, they're involved in chores in the family. They're being brought into the family constantly that, like, hey, we're part of a family. We work together. We help each other. And in the United States, what you're more so seeing, just because we're so wealthy here, is that the children are sat down in front of a TV or they're handed an iPad when the parents are doing chores. And then the children feel like they're these little emperors, right? Who are entitled and they don't have to do chores and it's not something for them. When historically, throughout history, really, it's a very new thing that the children aren't doing chores. That is how children felt, that they were part of their family. And that was the thing that grounded them from the very beginning, from when they were toddlers. And we don't have that now in the United States. I'm hearing in the United States that it's something like 25% of children have chores to do. Half of those children are being paid to do those chores. We're really in a mess right now, and we need to get ourselves out of it. We need to start taking different action at this point.
I tell you, that sounds like a very big mess. Because I remember when I was still living with my parents, and in this part of the world, if you do not do your chores, you're in trouble. Because the parent ain't going to take it easy with you at all, and it is not optional. So now hearing that people get paid, children get paid to do their chores. How much would I have earned
Yes.
if I was receiving money to do chores? Lots of dollars. Wow. Okay, let us talk about why Americans won't unite and fight back together against, is it tyranny? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so what's been going on in the United States is that we brought in this Prussian method of schooling that came from, what used to be Germany. So Germany used to be known for having all these essentially for hire mercenaries that could go out and fight all these wars for different countries, right? And in Germany, they were hired to go out and fight this big war in the 1800s, and they lost. And they decided that they lost because some of the soldiers were thinking too much for themselves and they weren't just following orders. And so then they started up with this Prussian method of schooling where it forces all the kids to be separated by their age and just follow orders all day long for 12 years. And we essentially a little bit nuts in this country. Like, we decided that, that teenagers were going to exist when beforehand teenagers never existed. And when you turned around 16, you started becoming an adult and you were part of society. And so we just are keeping within our school system, we're keeping these children as children for so much longer that, and then we don't have any kind of rites of passage that you're becoming an adult now. So, and then the families now have become even more separated. It used to be that you had grandparents around, you had aunts and uncles around. Now people grow up without their aunts and uncles around. They don't have their grandparents around. They don't know their family history. They're separated by ages in the schools all day long, and then they're kept as children into their 20s. Is really that we keep on treating them as children, but they're craving to be adults and to be accepted into the community, but we lost our rites of passages. They're gone. And so everyone just feels like now that they're, my sister-in-law described it that she feels like she's on a boat out in the ocean and there's no one around her to help her. And I think that's how a lot of people in this country feel. So if they feel like they're out in a boat in the ocean and they have no one, then they don't even know how to trust another person to then be able to unite together. And I think that's essentially the problem that we're having in this country. Like the friendships get broken very easily over very small differences that people have because they don't know that these differences are actually their method for them to have deeper, closer connections. And they just break up with their friendships, and then they're scared of making new friendships because they've had so many bad experiences. It's really sad. People are just very, very lonely here, and they are not connected to other people.
That's not good at all, because we need to be
Yeah.
connected to one another. Okay, so
You have to
what?
be connected to people in order to then go against tyranny. Like you have to do it as a group, one person at a time.
That's right.
You're going to get obliterated. If you do it as a group, then you can win. And we can't form groups right now. Everyone's just fighting.
Everyone is just fighting. Okay, so let us talk from the standpoint of hope. All right. So does freedom have any hope of winning in the US? You got that?
Does freedom have any hope of winning in the US?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that there is a possibility for it to win in the US, but I think that what we're going to have to do from the beginning is we're going to kind of have to heal ourselves from really this trauma that we've all experienced being alone. When you're alone and you have no one that you can depend on, and then you're going through really bad things, I mean, that's essentially how trauma gets started. I've heard I've heard, elders in African tribes describe it as trauma, that when you scream for help and no one comes, that's the real trauma. So we need to heal ourselves first from the trauma. If you have a family, then you have to start getting your family working together well. And then I think at that point, then you can go out and then you can have the greater community with you. And then that's where I'm coming in with my group, Florida Freedom Family. And I'm kind of encouraging people to follow a certain method so that they can have a tribe. And a tribe is just having 6 close friends within 5 miles of your home, and then having villages, which the villages would be all comprised of people who are in these tribes, but it would be 200 people within a 10-mile radius of their home. And then from there, I think we can literally change the United States, because people will have hope, they'll have friendships. They're not going to feel so lonely. They're going to start feeling like themselves, because they're going to find themselves in the reflection of their good friends that they have. So I think that there is a method that we can use to get back to it. And I think that most of the rest of the world sees it, but it's just not being seen so well in the United States. I feel like since I have a little bit of both in my background, I'm hoping that maybe the things that I'm doing can help people just to feel better.
It will, and it is already. Because when I listen to people, I always try to, get out of their words the motive behind what they're doing. And I discovered that your motive is to help. And that's a beautiful one. So that automatically makes you one of a very, very important asset in the United States because of what you're doing. I tell you, providing solution to a global national problem. That's a very good one. So I want you to talk to us more about this. Your group, you mentioned freedom. Refresh my memory, please. What is it again?
Florida Freedom.
Okay, yeah. Can you talk to us more about it? Is it something that folks can join, or you have a course or some educational materials or something? Just talk to us about it.
Yeah. So we currently have a website. It's flfreedomfam.me, and people can join. And we have all kinds of membership opportunities. But basically, what we're trying to do with it is kind of bring people through a kindness challenge so that they can, be practicing being kind to each other again, because we've all gotten kind of mean from social media, and now things that people would only say to each other online, they'll say to each other in real life. And like, the meanness has to stop. And then we go through another book that was written in English about essentially how to parent within a tribe. And then we go through another one, which is coming down to, hey, let's start finding your friends within 5 miles of your home. And so we're doing that right now. It's going to be changing here in the next year, but it's going to be changing for the better. But right now, this is where we're at. And people can join. And then once we have more and more people joining, our goal is to already start changing some laws in the next coming session in 2025, just to make families more free in the state of Florida, so that their children can go outside and play. Like, children in the United States can't even go outside and play because the government will get involved and say, you're neglecting your child. And I'm like, kids have to play.
That's right, I tell you. Boy, you see,
Yeah.
I watched a video where the kids were playing outside, and I don't know who that woman was. She just came in. She came in, was trying to attack the parent of the kids. Why would you let your kids out here disturbing the folks living in the neighborhood? Why would you? And the parent was saying, let kids be kids. Why are you doing this, for crying out loud? Let those kids be kids. You see, it's just,
Yeah.
oh man, thank God for folks like you, doing what you're called to do, and it's amazing what you're doing. Just keep doing it, Isabel. I appreciate you, and I love what you're doing, providing solution to problems. It's amazing. Thank you so very much. Okay, Isabel,
Oh, yeah.
to bring this to an end, what would you like to leave the audience with? Like a final thought. And to those ones who would like to reach out to you, learn more about what you're doing, and you said some amazing stuff and it resonated, and I'd love to learn more. How can that be possible?
Yeah. Um, I think what I want to leave it with is, your audience is a little bit more international. So I want to tell them that, the United States has done some things that has not been good to many people, many countries. And not everyone in the United States agrees with what our government is doing. And we are very sorry that these things have happened to you. I mean, it has happened to my own family. It's happened to my own husband. We're sorry. We're very sorry that these things have happened. We're trying over here to make things better. And we do hope that, since we have so many advantages in this country, we have so many smart people, we have so many creative people, we're hoping to bring all of that out soon. And we hope that we will become a country that now brings hope to the rest of the world. And we hope that you will forgive us in the future. And if you are in the United States and you're listening to this, we do have a plan of taking Florida Freedom Family nationwide. And if you want to go to our website, FL Freedom Fam, or if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's FL Freedom Fam. On Telegram, it's FL Freedom Fam. We would love to have you. And if any of this resonates with you, we need to join together, because we have got to change our country, and changing our country for the better will change the world for the better. And that is our job here on earth. So thank you.
Beautiful. I love that. What a great speech. Amazing. I love that. So that's going to be the end of the show, Isabel. Thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing this amazing
Thank
stuff
you.
with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
That was a beautiful